Are you being open? Are you being honest? Are you being direct? Are you being sincere? Do you paint a big enough picture for people so that they can see themselves succeeding inside of your success? It's incredible when you use the word simplicity. It's incredible to see how you've just laid out the blueprint. If somebody reads it, applies it, learns to understand it, and then perfects the law, one sequence at a time, one step at a time.
Let me break it down, because in the book I talk about the fact the secret of my simplicity are the following things. One, values. Once you know what your values are, you can make any decision. Decision making is easy, but if I don't know what my values are, I can't make it. Second is principles. There are certain principles that just absolutely work. It's the North Star. So when I have my values aligned and I understand my principles, and then I know what the priorities are, which is where the effort has to be extended. Now, all I need is a system. And that's one of the things that you're so strong on, is developing. Systems are free way. It's the best way to get where you want to in the quickest way possible. But when you can combine your values, your principles, your prioritize, and systems well, and become intentional, that's the last key word. Just intentional on, here's what I do, and here's why I do it, and this is why I do it all the time. Once that happens, I'm telling you, you can build a great work. You can be a terrific leader. It happens once you get all those things in order.
And you spell it out, 16 laws of communication. I mean, look, I think that for people watching this, especially if you're in my audience, you know I talk about the impact John's had on my life, and you know that I talk about the various laws and how they fit into starting, growing, scaling your business. These 16 laws of communication really funnels down for you the sequence in which you should structure your activities in communication, and assess to yourself, are you being open? Are you being honest? Are you being direct? Are you being sincere? Do you paint a big enough picture for people so that they can see themselves succeeding inside of your success? And then are you attaching that success to the things that you need to have them help you do in order for all of you to succeed? Now, John, let's pivot for a second here, because look, you know how much I love you, and you know how much I've learned from you. I think that's the most important thing. I learned to love you because of what I learned from you and your commitment to teaching that you wrote the foreword to my book, 9-Figure Mindset. I think the one thing I would ask you, because the audience watching this, a lot of people don't know who I am. Everyone should know in the world who you are if they're listening to my advice. What would you say would be the reason that you were willing to write the foreword? And then what have you actually experienced personally with me watching the evolution of my success that would even justify writing a book like this?
Well, first of all, when you write a foreword to the book, you don't write a foreword to the book because of what they put in the book. You write a foreword to the book because you know the person. I don't write forewords for people I don't know. Even if what they can have a very good book. But the moral authority of your book, Brandon, is who you are. You're not writing a book for a reader that you have some things that you've thought about that you would like to pass on because I think maybe they could help you. You're writing things that you have lived. You are writing things that you not only have lived, but that you've been very successful in. And so when somebody asks me about the potential of a book, I always say, look at the potential of the person. If the person is doing well, then the book's I want to read the book. If the person isn't really doing well, if it's fiction, I might read it, but I'm not, for self-help and personal growth and development, I'm only going to follow the person that's succeeded. And Brandon, one of the reasons that I have so long admired you is because you don't just tell people what you're going to do, you show people what you're going to do. You and I both know, when you try to train and equip people in something that you're not good at, it's as worthless as can be. We're not sitting here talking today and you're saying, John, I'd like you to talk to us about ballet dancing. Well, what's a fat person like me going to talk about ballet dancing when I can't ballet? Nobody wants to hear me do ballet. Nobody on this show today has looked and said, boy, I hope John Maxwell breaks forth in song. If he would just sing a while, wouldn't it be amazing? Come on, sing a little, John. No. Nobody wants to hear me say, I can't sing. They want me to talk about leadership. They want me to talk about communication. Well, when they talk about Brandon Dawson, you are the real deal. You are show and tell. Like my mentor, John Wooden, he used to tell his players, don't tell me what you're going to do. Show me what you're going to do. The reason you are so successful is because you have moral authority. And the reason you have moral authority is because you've done it. Brandon, you are a leader that can honestly use the words of Jesus. Follow me. Just follow me. Just follow me. I've done that. I've been successful with it. Think about it. The only reason to follow anybody, they're successful. Just think about it. If LeBron James was with me in the studio and we're going to choose up and have a pickup basketball game, and LeBron's going to pick some players, and then he's going to pick one, I'm going to pick one. When LeBron's picking someone, everybody's jumping up and down saying, pick me. Well, they want to be on the winning team. When I'm picking somebody, they're diving beneath the desk and they're hiding. They don't want to be picked. They're not going to win with me. The reason people join a team and the reason people follow a leader like you, Brandon, is because you win. You've been successful. This isn't theory to you. This is practice to you. Now, one more thing about you in the book. It's one thing to have been able to do it. It's another thing to be able to train others how to do it. You and I both know there are some really good individual producers that they just do good. They make a lot of money for themselves and they do well, but they can't develop teams. What you have succeeded in doing is you do it, but you've also succeeded in getting other people to do it. To me, the greatness of a leader is what he or she has been able to reproduce in other people. To me, the validity of leadership is how many people do you have that you've trained that are successful themselves. And you have a long Brandon Dawson line, a long one, of thousands of people would look at you and point to you and say, I'm a better business person because he came into my life. And why? Because you've lived it, you are it, you're authentic, you have moral authority, therefore you know how to help other people do it. And that's why I wrote the foreword of the book. I know Brandon Dawson. If I know Brandon Dawson, the book's going to be fine. If he's the real deal, the book's the real deal.
I appreciate that. And the things I discuss in this book is how I had my own personal transformation from who I was, what my self-created obstacles were, and how I was led through the process of opening my mind and my heart and my awareness and my understanding so I could become the version of myself that I had the skill set to do. I just was lost and didn't know how to get there. And I think the inspiration in this book for me and why I love having you be able to talk about it so much is because you know how difficult that journey was for me. But also now we've been working together, I don't know, probably 12, 13 years, and you've seen different iterations of the things that have been created. And a lot of it foundationally in the embodiment of your work. So when you were going through the book and you were seeing what I was writing, was there any memories you had about, I remember that guy back sitting there in 2010 or 11 or 12, and I was watching this evolution.
Well, I've seen you evolve, but I didn't pick up on you when you were in your 20s, when you were talking about earlier about your failures and the losses. I picked up on you really about 12, 13 years, and you were already on this trajectory. So I saw you. One of the things I tell people all the time is I wish they could have seen me when I started because they would be greatly encouraged. You know what I mean? Because I wasn't that good. And then what happens, it's kind of like in the beginning, you're never as bad as people think you are, and in the end, you're never as good as people think you are. I mean, it kind of compounds. But when I picked up on you, Brandon, I could tell already you understood leadership and you were applying it to your people. And one of the things you were doing is you were developing leaders in your company, which allows that company to begin to grow and begin to develop and to begin to prosper. So the evolution I have seen in you has been, you built a very successful company, sold it for $150, $60 million, so that's a huge price. But because you're good, you can go do it again and do it again. You're not a one-hit wonder. The successful people, Brandon, have been like you. They build a company, sold it, go over here, build something else. Those are the people you want to follow because they're not what I call one-hit wonders. And the evolution I've seen in you is maturity. When you build one company, there's a way to do it, and you kind of tendency to kind of say, this is how you do it. When you start building others and become successful, you become much more big picture and you understand the nuances and the contextualization of a company that really makes the art form of building it very important. So where I see you growing and evolving is you understand the art form. So you can take anybody where they are and you can apply it to where they need to go, and you can do it on their common ground, not yours. That is a gift. Very few people have it. You do, Brandon. Very few people have that gift.